What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader, and I thought I would show you guys some Hoth Stormtrooper porn. That's right. I've got all of my Kenner Hoth Stormtroopers, and I wanted to show you guys a couple of carded Mexican bootlegs from the 1990s that I picked up. I've had these for a few weeks now, but I just haven't gotten around to showing them to you yet. But these are two carded 1990s Hoth Stormtrooper bootlegs, and I just thought they looked so cool. I picked up one from a seller in Germany, and then the white one over here I picked up from a seller on Facebook. And, you know, I just thought they were so cool. I've actually got a few more of these already in grading that are loose, different colors, things like that. One of them's still in the bag, but these two I still had here, and I haven't had a chance to put together any money yet to send these off, but I am going to get these encased in an acrylic coffin with collector archive services at some point. So I wanted to show them to you, though, because they're really cool, and talk a little bit more about them. The one on your left is a white Stormtrooper, and it actually comes with a cape. Almost all, this is the only one I've ever seen in, you know, I'd say 4 to 5 months of looking where I've seen a cape included with it. And so it's really rare to see that. Let's take a closer look here. All of the Mexican bootlegs basically come in like, different kinds of bubbles, but in this case, it comes in like a typical bubble. You can see some damage here, but they're always just stapled, either on the left and right side or the top and the bottom. In this case, it's the top and the bottom. The figure itself is actually in near mint condition for a bootleg. And he's got, black boots, black gloves. The thumbs are known to have kind of like a half thumb on one of the hands. That for whatever reason, when they were copying the Kenner mold, that was common. So I don't know if they used a mold that was just too fragile, so the thumbs didn't come through when they used the mold or what. But almost all of them had that thumb issue. But you can see this one's got, very similar to the Kenner mold, obviously. But he's got white with some silver accents, blue visors. But in general, it's a pretty much a direct copy of the Kenner figure. And, it's semi-articulated. The arms do move. And like I mentioned, it does come with this cape. You can see the perforated kind of holes there for you to put it around his arms if you wanted to. And it is still on the card. The cards vary all over the map, but these 1990s bootlegs almost all use some kind of variation of this. I'll flip it over on your side here so you can see what this one has. But this has got the Ewoks on one side, and then on the other side it's got an A-wing. The backs are just plain cardboard, so you can see all the staples that they move. I take it back. I thought they only had staples on the top and bottom, but it's actually just around the bottom and then one on the top there. But the bubble's actually in really good shape on this one, but, there is some, cracks there. But, given that this is, almost 30 years old, the figure itself is in excellent condition. The paint on these Mexican bootlegs is not very good, and, oftentimes you'll see them still in the bag, or in the, on the card like this, where the paint is actually collecting at the bottom of this one. And this one does not have that, so the paint on this one's actually really good. But anyway, I thought it was really cool, so I picked it up. These uncarded, you can pick them up relatively cheap. Now, you got to be careful when you're buying these Hoth Mexican bootlegs, because if you go on eBay right now and typed in Hoth Stormtrooper Mexican bootleg, there'll be like 17,000 that pop up, and they're all like $10. Well, those are all what they did. What's been going on is that modern collectors or Mexican manufacturers down there, they took the mold that's very similar to this, or found the original molds for these Mexican bootlegs, and all they're doing is spitting out even crappier quality bootlegs than these. The quality is really poor. The paint is even worse, and the colors are all over the map. I've seen pink and blue and orange. I've seen all kinds of crazy colors, but those are not vintage bootlegs. This one's technically not a vintage either since it's the 1990s, but they're not really bootlegs. All they are is like a modern collector item to fill in the demand for people who don't have the money maybe to buy the originals like this. And there were also 1980s versions of these that are very expensive. They usually are not painted. They're a solid color, very rare. Oftentimes you'll see it's a different kind of plastic, so you'll see the plastic kind of chipping off. in pieces, but those are extremely rare, very hard to find. A CAS graded one sold on eBay maybe 6 months ago for like $500, so they're very, very expensive. But the 90s bootlegs, you know, if you're very careful and you're not buying the modern junk, and usually the modern junk is shrink wrapped on a very, very small card. You know, the card's even smaller than this one. But if you want a true 90s bootleg like this, you can get one uncarded for as little as, like, I'd say $20, maybe $25. Depending on condition, of course. The ones that are in better condition, you can pay as high as maybe $50. Me personally, unless it's a very rare color, I would not pay any more than $50 for one of these, because you can get, I mean, they're always listed on eBay. I mean, you can find them all the time. The colors vary all over the map too. In terms of colors, I have a really good buddy of mine who's collecting these 90s bootlegs, Hoth Stormtroopers, and he's amassed quite a beautiful collection of different colors. So far, he has light blue, dark blue, red, orange, white. There's also a black, a purple, and a green. And they're very faded colors for those bright colors. They're not like the modern ones that you see on eBay. They're very faded pinks and purples. But he's got a beautiful collection of them. And, you know, he paid anywhere from, I'd say, $20 up to like $50, depending on how rare the color is. The light blue, the light green, are probably two of the rarer ones. The purple one I've never even seen in person. I've only seen a picture, or a picture of one that was really old. And then this one I picked up on eBay from a seller in Germany. This one's in much better shape. The bubble on this one is excellent. The figure is also excellent. I've got another one of these. Incidentally, I did pick up from a different seller in Germany that's loose, and it came with a black Stormtrooper style rifle like you see with the Kenner figures. That one is in grading. But it's very similar to this one. And, as you can see, it's almost exact same mold. The thumb on this one is actually better. This one came back fine. You know, it's a little bit more of a translucent plastic that they used on this one, so maybe it's just the style of plastic that affects whether that thumb comes through or not. And this one came with a spruce tree of different weapons. On here, you can see the Biker Scout pistol. It looks like a Han Solo or Greedo pistol there. It comes with a force pike like Lando carried when he was dressed up as a skiff guard. You got a pink lightsaber, and then also a palace blaster. So, this was very common. A lot of the bootleg, the one that's white here with the white cape, that is extremely rare. You don't see that very often. But this one you do see. These spruce trees are almost always the same no matter what the figure is. This type of spruce tree, the colors can vary. But that spruce tree, in terms of the contents, is almost the same for every single figure I've seen. I've seen them on Leia princess outfits. I've seen them with Luke Bespins. I haven't seen any Han Bespins. I know they're out there though. Obviously these Hoth Stormtroopers, but Darth Vader is another one, and Luke Jedi is another one. So you'll see that spruce tree very commonly, and that's when you know you got a real true 1990s bootleg. Versus the modern junk, which they don't even include a weapon usually. But anyway, this is, again, a slightly different card back. It's got the Jabba's sail barge. It's got the smaller skiff that they use to escape. And then on the other side, we have Jabba's dungeon with R2-D2, EV9 or 99. I can't remember the name of the droid, but the torture droid, and then a Good Morning Guard. So anyway, these are both really, really cool. For example, I saw a gentleman on Facebook that has like 9 different carded Vaders for sale, and they're all a little bit different, and he wants like $250 for the lot for all 9 of them. So they're not very expensive. I mean, you can buy these carded still for relatively cheap, and they're still just an awesome piece, in my opinion. I mean, they're certainly not an 80s bootleg, and it has the kind of the old style to them and the old kind of look to them, but I still think that these 90s bootlegs in Mexico deserve to be recognized more than they are. And the prices are creeping up, I've noticed, over the last 6 months or so. They are picking up because people can't afford the 80s ones anymore. The 80s bootlegs have just gone through the roof in terms of how expensive they are. Even a very poor condition 1980s reuse, for example, goes for $500. I mean, it's just crazy. So, very difficult to find those 80s ones. I do have a bunch of them in grading, which I'll share soon. But, for those of you who are interested in getting into bootlegs, I would recommend these 1990s Mexican bootlegs. They're out there, and you can, carded, you can pick them up for, I'd say, anywhere from $40 to $50 more or less, depending on, if someone is selling a bulk of them and just wants to get rid of them and is not collecting them anymore. But I like them. I think they're really cool. I think that they'll show really cool when they're graded in a CAS case too. But I thought you guys like to see it next to the Hoths, the Kenner Hoths. If you want to do a side-by-side here, I'm kind of doing this on the fly, people. I don't really plan out my videos if you haven't figured it out. But anyway, here's one. Here's the 1990s Mexican bootleg with the cape. And then here is the just one of my graded Kenner figures. This one, just for giggles, is the Hard Torso Hong Kong. So anyway, I just thought it was kind of cool to see the differences and the similarities. It's a very similar product, and looks really cool. So that is all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and patience, Luke, because whenever I get my stuff back from CES in a few months, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have a lot more videos, but I don't want to spoil. I've been spending almost all my money on bootlegs, but I don't want to spoil some of them for you guys because I want you all to see them graded. And I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of grades some of these get. I bet I get 50s, and I bet I get 85s. I mean, they're going to be all over the map. But because they're bootlegs, I don't particularly care as much about the grade. It's just more about preserving them and keeping them as close to the condition as they are now. So, but anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.